This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I, of course, am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 3 in the National Football League. Cincinnati Bengals at home taking on the Tennessee Titans in a Week 3 matchup. Bengals looking to go 3-0 in the season. Titans looking to bounce back after a disappointing showing at home versus the Dallas Cowboys. Titans came into this game with heavy hearts as we heard of the passing of ex-Titans kicker Rob Baronis. He had passed away during a car accident the night before, and so the Titans had to be playing this game with heavy hearts, especially ex-teammates. Not a lot of these players played necessarily with Baronis. There are probably at least 15 to 20 players that probably did play with him, and so their thoughts and prayers were with him. Mine were with him as well, with his family and the whole Tennessee Titans organization. You know, I hate to hear of news like that, and so that was pretty tough to hear. And so going into that game, you knew they were playing with heavy hearts, but this was going to be a tough game for them to win either way. It didn't matter whether they had this tragedy dropped on their lap before the game or not. They were going to be in for a dogfight, and Cincinnati came in and they dominated this game from the beginning, but the ghost of Rob Baronis was present, and it was ever present in this game as the Titans moved the football down the field early on in the game. Jake Locker has a wonderful run on a scramble out of the pocket, picks up a huge gain, puts them in field goal range, and they're not able to connect the field goal as Ryan Suckup pushes it right. And you had to know the ghost of Rob Baronis was going to be ever present in this game, and he just pushed that ball all the way to the right, and Cincinnati basically took over from there. They get a field goal early on in the game, and A.J. Green, young, fresh and green, he was back and in full effect. Remember last week, had the toe injury and really didn't play that whole game, came back and was a force to be reckoned with. Bleeding Ray Wilson had a tough day in this game as he allowed the Bengals to pull off a throwback pass, tossed it to Mohamed Sanu, who throws it back to Andy Dalton. That should have been a pick 6. There is no reason why he shouldn't have picked that pass off and took it about 85 yards for a touchdown. Instead, what is he doing going to the outside on that play? If he's not picking it off, he should have been blasting Andy Dalton. Either way, he did nothing correct on that play. Andy Dalton not only catches the football, but takes it to the end zone, dives in, touchdowns, 10-0. After that, like I said, another field goal attempt from Ryan Suckup. He misses. The ghost of Rob Baronis still ever present. Nothing could go right for this Titans team. They got backed up around their own end zone, ended up with a holding penalty in the end zone, which resulted in a safety. Again, just a lot of things going wrong for this Tennessee Titans team as they fall to the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. I mean, this thing got out of control. Bleeding Ray Wilson had a pass interference on A.J. Green in the end zone, led to another touchdown. Again, this team struggled in every aspect of the game. Special teams let them down. The offense couldn't get the ball into the end zone, even though they were moving the ball early on in the game, and the defense could not stop the Cincinnati Bengals and get it done and stop them from putting up points in this game. And so if you're the Tennessee Titans, this is a disappointing loss, not from the sense of, hey, we should have played better, we could have won this game, but from the standpoint of, who are you? The mistakes that you make on a weekly basis won't allow you to even be a competitive team within your division. And again, your division isn't that good. You've got the Texans, who are a fraud, and they were kind of proven to be that in week number 3. You've got the Indianapolis Colts, who just got their first win. Now, they look good in doing so, but it was the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're still 1-2 on the season. And here you are struggling to just find your way. You should have beat the Cowboys at home. You let them come into your house and beat you. Then you go on the road and embarrass yourself against Cincinnati. These are all problems that you have to correct if you're going to have a solid season. Not a division winning season, a solid season. If you continue to play like you had the last 2 weeks, you will be a 5-win team. That performance against Cincinnati won't get it done. It simply won't get it done. And Jake Locker has to play better. He had some bad interceptions in this game. He played, aside from him scrambling, there was nothing good to take from this game from Jake Locker. Nothing. And the one thing I can say, in an ass whooping, there's normally one silver lining. One silver lining in the dark cloud that is a beatdown from another team. Your silver lining was Bishop Sankey. He looked damn good in this game. And if you got nothing else from this game, if you have no takeaways other than that, you've got to feel good about your second-round selection, looking like a guy that can start to take over the bulk of the carries and do some things on the ground. He looked spry. He looked explosive. He made plays. He made cuts. I like what I saw out of Bishop Sankey. Other than that, this was a beatdown at the hands of a damn good team in Cincinnati. 33-7. Bengals get it done. And they run their record to 3-0. This is a team that at home, like I said, they're as steady as it comes in this league. They get it done week in, week out. And if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, just keep doing what you're doing. Andy Dalton didn't have the greatest of games, but the defense stepped up, special teams stepped up, and you got it done in this game. Just continue to play like you're playing, and you're going to be one of the best teams, not just in your division, but in the AFC Conference. Titans dropped to 1-2. Cincinnati now 3-0 on the season. That's going to do it for the wrap-up of this game. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me. If I've got many more games to break down in week number 3 in the National Football League. See you in a bit.